What's going on, Top 10ers? I'm your host Joss and welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. Check us out on our new Instagram page, the link is down below, and make sure you stick around with me until the end of this video if you want to join me while I shout out some of your comments. Today we are talking about some of our favorite actors who have spent time behind bars. Yes, believe it or not, there really are actors out there who were once punished for their actions and sentenced to be put behind bars. Whether it was a time from their past or a weak moment in their career, everyone on this list actually faced jail time and spent time in a cell. Let's see who is on this list, shall we? Because I bet you are all dying to know who the real criminals are in Hollywood. Today's list is top 10 famous actors who went to prison. Let's get started. Starting off our list at number 10 is Tim Allen. Before we all came to love him on the hit TV show Home Improvement, the actor was actually a comedian. His career started as a comedian in 1975, where he participated in a comedy night in Royal Park, a suburb of Detroit, Michigan. While he was in Detroit, he started to get noticed and appeared in some local commercials and on cable comedy shows. However, his career took a hit on October 2nd, 1987, when he was arrested in the Kalamazoo International Airport for possession of over 650 grams of cocaine. He pleaded guilty to a felony of drug trafficking charges and also provided the names of the other dealers in exchange for a lighter sentencing. He was first looking at life in prison, but because he cooperated, he was looking at spending 3 to 7 years in jail instead. He ended up spending 2 years and 4 months in a prison in Sandstone, Minnesota, and afterwards was paroled on June 12, 1981. After he was released, he moved to LA and got back into comedy by becoming a regular performer at the Comedy Store. And the rest went up for him from that moment on. In March of 2017, he opened up about his jail time during an interview and said, "I've been sober for almost 20 years. I am much more present." At number 9 is Mark Wahlberg. After doing some research, guys, I am stumped. I feel like a fool. This guy had multiple run-ins with the law and I never would have guessed. But the one that landed him in jail is when he was charged with attempted murder. Moment of silence to take all of that in. In April 1988, Wahlberg attacked a middle-aged Vietnamese man named Ton Lam on the street and struck him in the head with a large wooden stick. He clocked him in the head while yelling racist slurs to a point where he went unconscious. The same day, he also attacked another Vietnamese man named Johnny Tring, punching him in the eye. According to court documents, when the actor was arrested later that night, he was brought back to the scene of the first assault and he told the police officer, I quote, "You do not have to let him identify me. I'll tell you now, that's the mother whose head I split open." The officers also reported that he kept saying racial statements, calling the two men slant-eyed gooks. The one man he punched was left blind in one eye. He ended up being charged with attempted murder and he pleaded guilty to assault. He was sentenced to 2 years but ultimately only served 45 days of a sentence. However, he still carries the felony charge on his record. Swiping the number 8 spot is Robert Downey Jr. Nowadays, he is known as the iconic Iron Man, but back in the day, the actor was arrested on multiple occasions. He was charged multiple times for charges related to drugs, including cocaine, heroin, and marijuana. He went through multiple drug programs but always seemed to relapse. In 1999, he appeared in court and described his relapse to the judge by saying, "It's like I have a shotgun in my mouth and I've got my finger on the trigger and I like the taste of the gunmetal." In April 1996, the actor was arrested for possession of heroin, cocaine, and an unloaded handgun. A month later, while he was on parole, he trespassed into a neighbor's home while high on drugs and fell asleep in one of the beds. That's when he received 3 years of probation and was ordered to undergo compulsory drug testing. In 1997, he missed one of the court-ordered drug tests and had to spend 6 months in the Los Angeles County Jail. After that, in 1999, he missed yet another drug test and was sentenced to a 3-year prison term. He ended up spending 1 more year in prison and got out on a $5,000 bail. Just 1 week after his release, he joined the cast of the hit TV series Ally McBeal and won a Golden Globe for his role. Talk about turning your life around and making a comeback. In the number 7 spot is Sean Penn. The actor has a temper that has landed him in trouble on multiple occasions, but one of them ended up with him behind bars. When the actor was just 26 years old, he found himself being charged after punching an extra on the set of one of his movies. Apparently, one of the extras, named Jeffrey Klein, who was 32 at the time, was taking photographs of him while they were on a break during the filming of Colors. They were filming at Venice Beach, and Penn was irritated that he was taking pictures and cussed at him and spit on him. The extra spit back at him, and that is when Penn punched him in the face several times. He had to be pulled off of him by other members of the cast and crew. The extra was treated for cuts and bruises at an emergency medical care center. He ended up being sentenced to 60 days in prison and also ordered to undergo 6 months of psychotherapy for his violent behavior. Penn ended up serving only 33 days of his sentence and clearly didn't learn his lesson because he had multiple assault claims for years after this time in jail. At number 6 is Lindsay Lohan. The actress had an incredibly successful acting career for many years, but it all took a hit when she landed herself in jail. I remember thinking, like, how does Lindsay Lohan end up in jail? Well, she's actually had multiple run-ins with the law, and they all began on May 26, 2007, when she was first arrested and charged for driving under the influence and possession of cocaine. She ended up having to do 10 days of community service and was placed on 3 years probation. She was then sentenced to 1 day in jail, but she spent a whopping 84 minutes in jail because she was released due to overcrowding. Over the next few years, the actress's probation got extended and she was forced to do weekly random drug testing as well as wearing an alcohol monitoring ankle bracelet. She continued to face charges after skipping multiple court dates and attending her weekly alcohol education classes. She spent time in rehab in 2010 to 2011, but ended up back in court after being charged for stealing a $2,500 necklace from a Venice jewelry store, to which she pleaded not guilty and said she walked out of the store accidentally wearing it. On April 22, 2011, she was sentenced to 120 days in prison and 480 hours of community service after the judge finds out that she violated her probation again on the 2007 DUI. She ends up in jail but gets released partway through and is ordered to finish her sentence on house arrest. She has so many charges and court appearances that I can't even keep up anymore. To make it a little more simple, she appeared in court 9 times in 2011. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Kiefer Sutherland. The actor is now starring on the TV series Designated Survivor, but you might also know him from Zoolander 2, The Simpsons, and about 98 other credits he has to his name. No, seriously, he has 100 acting credits on IMDb. But during his career, there was a point in time when he also had some jail time to his name. Back in 2007, the actor was arrested and charged with a DUI for the 4th time, which ended up landing him with a sentence of 48 days in prison. The actor ended up completing his full sentence and was assigned to laundry and kitchen duty. He spent his time serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner to other inmates. As an inmate worker, he was able to roam the jail 75% of the time rather than being confined to his cell all day. In 2016, he opened up about his time in prison, saying that he lost all of his dignity. His exact words were, I quote, "The first thing you lose when you walk through those doors is your dignity." The actor was able to continue a successful career after serving his time, and he even turned to writing music, where he says he pulls emotions from that experience and puts them into his music. Sliding into the number 4 spot is Mike Sorrentino. For years, he was a part of the Jersey Shore cast, and he has recently traded the Jersey Shore house for some time behind bars. The 36-year-old actor, or reality star, depends what you want to call him, seeing as people say the show is scripted, began serving his 8-month sentence in January of this year. Mike and his brother both pleaded guilty last January to similar charges. They were charged in 2014 with tax offenses related to nearly $9 million US in income. The judge ordered him to spend 8 months in prison, followed by 2 years of supervised release and 500 hours of community service. The judge also ordered a $10,000 fine and a $123,000 in restitution, which was paid into court back in October of 2018. While driving in the car on his way to prison, his wife Lauren filmed him on Instagram Live, where he said, "I'm just going to handle this and put this behind me and move forward." He also tweeted out his prison address for family, friends, and fans to mail him letters. In April, his co-star Nicole, aka Snooki, said that he is enjoying his time in prison. She told E! News, "He's playing bingo. He's helping people recover in jail. We all talk to him through an email, so I talk to him like once a week. He's in the gym a lot, so he's probably gonna come out ripped. He is set to finish his full sentence, but by the sounds of it, he is having a good time." Alright guys, at number 3 is Christian Slater. It was back in 1997 when the actor was sentenced to 3 months in prison. He was 29 years old at the time and was arrested in August after police were called to a fight at a late-night party in LA. According to the officers involved, the actor was found swinging his arms and yelling incoherently. He was in a fight with another man, but that is because the man stepped in after he punched his girlfriend, Michelle Jonas. He was clearly under the influence at the time and violently out of control. He even kicked a policeman, Julio Flores, down a flight of stairs. Slater later told the police that he had been taking heroin, cocaine, and had been drinking for a couple days and only on a couple hours of sleep. The actor was sentenced to 3 months in prison, followed by 3 months in a residential drug treatment program for assaulting both his girlfriend and a police officer. In 2015, he did an interview with The Guardian where he spoke about this time in his life. He admitted that at one point in time he had thoughts of killing himself and says that he basically didn't remember or feel anything. The actor has been sober for years though and doesn't like going into too many details when talking about his past addictions. In at number 2 is Wesley Snipes. We've seen him making negative headlines for a variety of different reasons, but one of them began back in 2006 when he was arrested and later sentenced some prison time. It began on October 12, 2006 when he was charged with 1 count of conspiring to defraud the US and 6 counts of failing to file federal tax returns by their filing dates. The government also charged him for failing to file tax returns for the years 1999 through 2004. After multiple court dates and 2 years later, it was April 24, 2008 when Snipes was sentenced to 3 years in prison for the failure to file his tax returns all those years. He began his sentence on December 9, 2010 and was released on April 2, 2013 and finished the last few months of his sentence on house arrest. Just last year on November 1, 2018, the United States court filed a notice of federal tax lien in connection with approximately $23.5 million for the tax years between 2001 to 2006. Wesley Snipes offered to pay back a fraction, $842,000, but he was rejected. He lost the case. I think this is a good lesson learned for all of us. Do your taxes, and then if you owe money, pay the government. Taking our number 1 spot is Bill Cosby. The actor who has been making headlines for a long time now with multiple sexual assault allegations coming to surface. In October 2014, a part of Hannibal Buress's comedy routine that described sexual misbehavior by Cosby went viral, and more women came forward with statements saying that they were assaulted by Cosby. The dates of the alleged incident span from 1965 to 2008, across 10 different US states and 1 Canadian province. It wasn't until April 26, 2018 that he was found guilty based on incidents that happened in January 2004 when evidence was found of him sexually assaulting a Toronto woman. On September 25, 2018, that's my birthday, he was sentenced to 3 to 1 years in state prison and a $25,000 fine plus court costs on both trials. He has been serving his time ever since, and in January of this year he was moved to general population where he is now being treated just the same as any other inmate. I wonder how that's going. Alright guys, there's our list for today. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it and tell me what you think down in the comments below. For now, let's end this video by doing some comment shoutouts. Greg Rowland says, my mom told me that she named me after Gregory Peck because he was her favorite actor, lol. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I wish I had a story like that about my name. Caleb Williams says, y'all should do a top 10 most popular extras. I love the idea of giving extras some time in the spotlight. But are extras ever really popular? I don't know if I'd be able to find 10 popular extras, but we'll see. Prep for It says, I always give these videos a thumbs up. There 100% has to be some sort of negative energy attached to these films. Yeah, I don't mess around with spirits, demons, exorcisms, none of that stuff. Nope. Won't do it. Laura Anderson says, don't believe in curses, just stating my opinion. Hey, everyone is allowed their own opinion. I don't judge. Alright guys, that is all I have for you today. Make sure you are following us on our Instagram before you go. The link is down below. I am your host Joss, and I will see you next time.